Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and digperspectives.com for exclusive content. You can also join us in the Freedom Zone right here. That's right, right underneath every title of every video, click and join the Freedom Zone, or click the More button in the description section here like this and check out all the cool links. You can also join us at Patreon in the Freedom Zone or on YouTube, your preference. But here's the good news. All daily videos, zero Google ads. That's worth the price of admission right there. And we're doing extra content where we're covering things that I believe are absolutely connected to the new digital age and beyond. Make sure you join us in there. I'm loving the conversations that are going on in there. Let's get started. $2.76 trillion market cap for crypto right now. The market is flat. But we know that the market is suppressed. Bitcoin 82,800 plus, Ethereum 1,700 plus, XRP number 4 spot $2.06. I bought the dip 3 times in 2 days. What more can I do here, people? I'm doing my part. We're up 3.8% on the 24, and we're off 6.8% on the 7-day. Let's look at the range of price very quickly here. Ranging between 197 and 210. I didn't catch the 197. Did you catch it? I didn't catch it. Dang nabbit. I was sleeping. But you know what? It's okay. Like I said, I bought a great dip 3 times in the last 2 days. I'll take it for now. Let's get started. We got a lot to go over here. Let's start right here. Anti-CBDC bill is approved by the U.S. House Committee. Give Michael Branch a follow. Loving that for all of us. I don't want a CBDC. One step closer to stability. This is the latest. The U.S. House Committee passes the Stable Act. Remember, the Stable Act in the House, the Genius Act in the Senate. They're trying to get the Stable Bill to mirror the Genius Act so they don't have to put together a third, like another committee, an alternate committee to work out the differences of the bills. If they could just get it done in the House, this will move much quicker. So the committee passes the Stable Act, a bill to regulate stablecoins, moving it to a full House vote. That is good news if they can get that passed. Boy, we're really moving here. Have you ever seen Congress move this fast? Look at this. It tells me how important all of this is. This is a big step forward for crypto, and I do mean a big step. 13 hours, it's finally finished. The Stable Act is out of the Financial Committee with another great bipartisan vote, 32 to 17. 6 Democrats joined all the Republicans after this marathon of an amendment series. Major thank you, especially to Representative French Hill, leading this bill and markup. No doubt about it. It is huge how fast things are moving now. What a difference a few months in an election makes, huh? By July 25, classification of digital assets will become law. You know, President Trump has made it clear, and the sentiment is echoed by Senator Tim Scott. I love Tim Scott. You know, for me, Senator Scott is one of those people. You know, there are a small handful of people that are really in Congress that are good. And I just feel like, how do I know that? Because every time I hear Senator Scott speak, it really truly feels like he's actually serving others instead of himself, right? And he's very selfless. He seems very selfless, and he's always putting the interest of the people that he represents first, which I have a great respect for. But in a close 13 to 11 party line vote, the committee approved Paul Atkins to lead the SEC and Jonathan Gould to become the OCC head. So this is another big step forward. So now the committee approved, now it goes to the floor. And these things, typically speaking, if they pass the committee, it means that they will also pass the floor vote, right? So that's why we have the committees at all. So here we see Senate Banking Committee advances Trump nominees Paul Atkins, Jonathan Gould for key financial regulatory roles. Republican Senator praised the nominees for their experience and focus on economic growth, while Democrats criticized them. The SEC is holding a series of roundtable discussions to clarify cryptocurrency regulations, covering topics like trading, custody, tokenization, and DeFi. Now we see this, a delegation from the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, met with the SEC Crypto Task Force, for which Dr. Chris Brummer is a part of. And Dr. Chris Brummer will be on stage at XRP Las Vegas talking about his new company, Blueprint. And he will also be interviewing Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, in a fireside chat. First time ever Brad Garlinghouse will be on stage. This is a remarkable moment. Do not miss the opportunity to find out what that conversation will yield. I can tell you that. But meanwhile, BlackRock meet with the SEC Crypto Task Force this week to discuss the firm's existing crypto ETFs and the potential of allowing future in-kind redemptions and creations for them. Okay, things are moving, right? Things are really moving here. Let's keep going because look at what just came in. Coinbase Institutional says, institutional Coinbase, we're excited to announce that Coinbase Derivatives has filed with the CFTC to self-certify XRP futures, bringing a regulated, capital-efficient way to gain exposure to one of the most liquid digital assets. We anticipate the contract going live on April 21st, 2025. Listen, I am ecstatic to hear this because futures are what institutions use. Real price discovery can't happen unless you have futures. You got to be able to have the long side of the market and the short side of the market. And then the difference between the two of those is what they call price discovery. We're seeing market maturity happen right before our eyes. It's pretty remarkable. Brad Garlinghouse is excited about it too. Look, he reposted. This is incredible. The fact that we're seeing this market birth right before our eyes. This is not something that normally happens, right? So I know that most of us do understand the importance of a moment like this in human history, in financial history, in human history, right? It's not often that you get to experience, let alone have the opportunity to invest in a brand new asset class. And that's exactly what we're watching happen here be born. And that's not just for XRP, it's for digital assets broadly, right? So it's just that XRP happens to be pretty special. And you know what? I don't know what to make of this, and I need your help trying to find out what's going on here. But I think Sherry Empress has it figured out. But nonetheless, there has been a new filing and an entry added to the SEC versus Ripple case, an urgent request to present decisive evidence in favor of the defendants and to compensate the American people? What in the world is going on here? It says decisive evidence. Justin W. Keener, am not a party to the lawsuit, but I certified that I have an interest in its outcome for multiple reasons. For one, by God's miracle, I hold data and information believed to be decisive evidence to settle controlling questions and matters central to 10 years of nightmarish chaos thrown upon all of us unsuspecting Americans. The proprietary information would be of tremendous interest and value to defendants in the broader crypto industry. Further, I believe the information, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't feel legit, you know. And this is the update here. Sherry Empress shares this, and shout out to her for that. Give her a follow. Emergency request to present decisive evidence in favor to Ripple. But we can't figure out exactly what's going on here. But Sherry's pretty sharp. And the question is, do you think XRP holders filed a class action lawsuit against the SEC regarding the secondary markets when they stated in court that they were securities? Do you think there would be a case for that? Just an opinion. Sherry says there cannot be any class action lawsuit when the government agency did their job correctly in going after Ripple for breaking the law. Judge Torres did agree that laws were broken, which is why a penalty was issued. Unfortunately, there's no case regarding any issue here. King Hodl says here, anyone can file anything. It doesn't make it relevant. That's true. And Sherry says, this filing certainly is a bunch of poo and will result in nothing changing should the parties drop their appeals. I read that late last night, and I have to tell you, like I was, she's smart. She's a smart lady, and must be in the legal field, lawyer or what have you. But I'll tell you, this brought me a lot of relief because somebody said the real question, could this delay the outcome or ending of the lawsuit? Which crypto native, shout out to you. That's exactly my first knee jerk reaction. Like, are you kidding me right now? What is going on? She says, no, not at all. If the parties have an agreement in which they present to Torres, then she has no authority to review this evidence. So there you have it. So this seems like a bunch of noise that somebody's done for some attention, right? This case is over. It's just remarkable. We just got to get past this moment. I think, isn't there like a final filing or something like April 15th, April 16th? If somebody could leave me a comment and remind me of that, I know you would know better than I would. But let's take a look at this now. So I just to clear that up, it appears that filing is trash, right? So and I do trust Sherry's analysis that she says this will not affect the opinion at all to the case. No stopping anything. So there's the good news to that, but you probably will see it on social media. Don't let it freak you out and keep you up for a while like it did me last night. So Dark Defender says, hi all. This is a monthly time frame update to the one I shared in the first week of February. We have no change, he says. He's bullish on XRP. RSI is bullish. A wave is completed. We expect a B wave toward $3 and might skip the C wave by proceeding to the target's $5.85. Not financial advice, he says. Short-term targets in the interim are 222 and 255, and support finds 204, 202, and 195. And remember, we hit 197 on the range earlier today, so I wanted to share that with you. Now, here's a clip from Waters Above shared by Riz. Give Riz a follow here. But this is an interesting thing. Like he said here, we could see potentially a breakout for XRP in the double digits, like $10 in the middle of summer. To listen to this part here where he talks about
could lead to a very sharp move to the upside. This would be like double-digit XRP right before the month of August. Now, of course, we can't just rely on fractals, and almost any time you see me using fractals, I give a disclaimer saying to not rely on them. I never have, but there are patterns that play out based on an algorithm, and that's undeniable. So once we can identify when the energy will shift from bearish to boring and then to eventually bullish, as long as we can keep our composure during the sentiment cycle, we can be on the profitable side of the play. And
I think that's spot on right there. And it's not financial advice from him, me, or anyone else. Look, I'm going to kill it right there. We're going to go into the freedom zone, and we have a lot to go over today. I want to go down the tariff lane and where the markets are, and why all the markets are bleeding heavily is because of Liberation Day. And you know what? Anything worth having is going to involve some pain before you get the gain. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. We're going into the freedom zone, and I hope you will hit that join button and come on in. All right, welcome back.